Hello, all. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. And today we'll be talking about how you set up an SSL certificate in Business Central 2024 Release Wave 1 on premise for sure. Now, we have done a similar video for a prior version, but I received a comment and a question on my email specifically about 2024 Release Wave 1. So, in this video, we'll just follow the same set of steps, how we do it, how we did it, and let's see what happens. There will be some context of the previous video into this. So I'll not get into details of what we already discussed in the previous video where we set up the NAV username password authentication. So I'll follow those steps, but I'll run a little bit faster on that. You know the drill. At any given point of time while you're watching this video, if there is a question, add it into the comment section. And before we begin, a humble request to subscribe to the channel. That helps us to understand how we are doing, what kind of content we should be preparing. Is it something that you're liking or not liking? So let's get into it. So at this moment, I have a Business Central 2024 Release Wave 1 environment with setup as Windows authentication at this moment. And as you can see from the users, I only have one user hopefully on this one. Yes. So let's get into the PowerShell and let's start doing the magic. So the first thing that we do once we are in PowerShell is to import the module. So let's quickly do import of module, which is stored in my C program files, Microsoft Business Central 240 service PS1. This command loads all the Business Central related commands into the PowerShell so that whatever I'll be doing forward, it'll understand that. Now, first thing that we need to do, and I'll save this. So last time somebody commented that you show great scripts on videos, but we don't have access to those scripts. So all these scripts will be available in the GitHub if needed. Now what we are going to do is adding user in database. And how we do that, it's pretty simple. New nav server user, and then on which service you want to add it, which is BC240, and I'll be passing the username option, and my username will be Saurav. I would also need my full name as Saurav Dhani. Okay, and if you don't know about these steps, watch the previous video. We have surely discussed it in detail. And then for the password, I would like it to ask me the password by reading what I type on the host. And in the host, the prompt will be to enter password. Okay. As secure string. So I'll just store it as encrypted. And then once it is done, I'll also have to assign a permission to this. So nav server user permission set, where we are trying this on server instance BC240 for the username Saurav, and the permission set as, I forgot, as super. Okay, so let's read it through, run this through, and maybe I'll just set it as parameter so that if you have a different parameter set, you can just utilize it as it is. So $service name. This is how you define parameters in PowerShell. And then you define the value like in single quotes. So wherever I'll be referring the service instance, I can utilize this, and you can surely change other parameters as they are needed. So once we have done this, let's run this. This will ask me for my password, and let me type a password based on Microsoft password policies. Okay, done that. And this command will now add an user with authentication type as nav user password in my Business Central environment. So if I try to re-pop up this page, I'll see that I have the user that I just added. Okay, with the super permissions. Now that's done. Let's open the config file, which is also placed here, so that we understand what we're trying to do next. So let's do a file open, and let's go into custom setting.config. Oh, and I cannot see that. So let's do that. Okay. Custom setting.config. So what we are going to do is we are going to set some of the parameter. The one is the credential type, something like that. Yeah. Client credential type. We'll set it to nav user password. So I'll just paste it here. Update service parameter. Okay. The first parameter is this. The second that I'll need is to assign a thumbprint. So just let me also pass the value here for time being. And let me see what is the thumbprint key is. It's service certificate thumbprint that I need. Okay. So we'll copy this parameter also, and we are going to set this with a thumbprint. And then we also need to set the SSL enabled. So somewhere there will be an SSL enabled. Okay. Client service SSL enabled. Okay, it cannot find that. That's weird. Maybe as the top. So let me try from here. Find next. Nope. Client service says maybe services SSL enabled. All right, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to set up these three parameters. How you set up service parameter? You just do a set nav server configuration, and in that you specify the server instance and the service name, and then you apply a key name, what property you are going to change, which is this, and then the key value. In the same way, I'll just copy this as it is and paste it here and paste it here. Okay, and then for the key value, I'll need to get the thumbprint, and this will set to be true. Now let's quickly go and generate a certificate, which I do on my IIS, as we have done into the previous videos. You can come here on your server, look for server certificate, and let's create a self-signed certificate, and we call it as user pass cert, let's say, and it's getting stored in my personal certification store. Now this gets created, and you can open it and see the details of it here. Now here you also see a thumbprint, which is what we need to be assigning on my service. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. Okay, and then this we are already turning to true. As we are changing the service, we will also have to restart the nav server instance with the server instance $service name. Okay, so let me copy this so that you run it in pieces rather than running it together. So now I'm going to set up some parameters on this service. So let's run through that. Now what's happening right now is I'm switching the service credential from Windows to nav username password. So now my service will start utilizing the nav username password rather than a Windows authentication. Now then the last part that is left is to update the web service credential type, because the website or the web client that you access is actually comes from your CINet pub, www root, whatever your service name, and then there is a, if I'm not wrong, nav settings.json. Yes, now this file contains some detail. We'll come to that. So now this has been done. The service has been updated and restarted. Let's see what happened here. It didn't update yet, but let me try to open this again. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now if you look at it, it'll tell you that it is, where is it? Okay, let's come down a little bit. Okay, I have to go pretty much down. I should search it rather than spending time into it. So this is the one that we are searching for. So let's see, did this get updated? Now it's set to username password. The second that we set is the thumbprint. So let's quickly check this also. Okay, and it is set. So my client service custom setting.config is up to date. Now I'm into my nav web setting, which I have to update to access my client from here. So let's do that, which is updating the web service parameter, or yeah, web service client parameters. Okay, there is a separate set of command which is set nav web server configuration, and this is how you use it. Again, the same set of values. You need to provide the web server instance, which again in this case becomes service name, which is similar in my case. If it's different, you can change that. Again, there will be some key names and some values. Okay, so let's figure it out what we need to update. In the nav setting JSON also, there is a client credential type which is currently set to Windows. So we surely will have to update this. And the value that you would like to assign to this parameter is also defined here to be nav user password. Okay, let's copy this as it is till here. Hopefully there will be some other parameters that I need to set. So let's set that. The first one would be that server should use HTTPS. So there should be something with HTTPS. Okay. It says require SSL. Okay, that makes sense. This needs to be set. So let's set that up. And what else? Okay, is there anything else that I need to set? Let's see. Okay, maybe I'll have to go at the top and start searching for it. Okay. It says server HTTPS. If the Business Central server instance is configured to this, then you set or change the server HTTPS. Okay, so that you get a secure port while you're utilizing this. Okay, last but not least is there should be something with the DNS identity, I guess. Let's search. Yes, the DNS identity stores the subject name from the server certificate. So we'll tell you what the DNS identity should store. Okay, so these are the 4 parameters that I have to set. Change the credential type, HTTPS, require SSL and DNS identity. Now require SSL will surely be true, that I need this, and same for server HTTPS, which is this. Now the last and the important part is DNS identity, where what we read here is that the subject name of the server certificate. So let's go back here and search here. What is the subject? So subject in this case, because it's a self-signed certificate, is my machine name. So I'll just copy this. Okay, and set it here. With these 4 settings on my web server instance configuration, I should be able to kind of access Business Central using this. So let's run this set also. Oh, it happened pretty fast. Now once this is done, there's no way that you can restart. Can you? Let's see. Okay, restart nav. No, there's nothing. Okay, so let's do it manually. You surely have to come here and stop the server. So once you stop the server, the server starts reading the updated files, and then you start the server. But when you go into your site, of BC240, you only see a browse of 8080, which is the HTTP. You also will have to enable the HTTPS. For that, you go here, come on the right hand panel, choose bindings, and you will see a binding to 8080 port, which is unsecure port. You can add new configuration and say, now I'll be pointing to HTTPS. And as soon as you do that, you have to select an SSL certificate, which is our user pass cert that we created. Let's click OK here. We are good. The mapping is here, and let's close it. Now I should be able to manage or browse my application, hopefully, if everything goes well. And it says it is not working because it is pointing to my unsecured or HTTP port. So let's try the 4431. And here it's saying it's not private. So let me use this, the DNS identification or the subject name of certificate in my URL. So I'll change it to this and let's run it. Okay. The error that I'm seeing here is error SSL key uses incompatible. And this is one of the questions. So let's try using it in a different browser. Let's go back to our old friend, Internet Explorer. And let's see, can I access this? Okay. So when I try to access this, I'm able to open the client, and I'm also able to key in the password, and hopefully I should be able to get into the server, which seems to be working. But it doesn't seem to be working for my Edge, Microsoft Edge browser, which is this. And the error that I'm seeing is this. So maybe let's search for it. Let's see, because this is not related to Business Center. Let's be very clear. This is related to some SSL key uses incompatibility. So I'm pretty sure someone in any other product or technology who is using SSL certificate would have seen this error message. Now it's still loading in here, but hopefully it will get into IE. The first thing that I find is how to fix ERR SSL key uses incompatibility with Microsoft. Okay, let's click on it. Here it says, this has been seen that when we try to go to a self-signed certificate with the latest version, we get this error. Is there a fix? Now understand it. This is to have this error, there are two scenarios. That it is a self-signed certificate like we created here on this IIS server, saying that in the certificate window, we are going to create a self-signed certificate. Now, a self-signed certificate does not come with a certifying authority, and it is not built for production users, right? If you have to create that, then you get into this, and then you need to specify not just this. Let's see what are other things you have to specify. Okay. When I go next, I need to specify the online certificate authority, the authority that will validate that it is a valid certificate, and then a friendly name to it. So to have this error message, you are surely testing out with your self-signed certificate, which is not suggested for production. But here it says it's happening with Microsoft Edge only. I haven't tried it on Google Chrome, but if you have Google Chrome, give it a try. But here it seems fixed. So let's read what are the answers. I had the same issue all this morning. My entire software infrastructure has been offline after this has been updated, which is Microsoft Edge. Gave me the error about this. To fix this, I had to create a new self-signed certificate through PowerShell using the command new self-signed certificate, friendly name, DNS, key digital signature, and then assign it to kind of use that. The main change here is the key users type. The IIS manager wouldn't let you create self-signed certificate with this type. The key uses, which is the digital signature. Then once you do that, you have to go to IIS manager to your website and things like that. Okay, so let's give it a try with Business Center. So I'm copying this command as it is. Okay, let's head up to PowerShell and let's do it first. Let me put it on the top. Okay, create a self-signed certificate. Hopefully the spelling is correct. Okay, so what was our certificate name? I forgot. So let's go and user pass cert. Okay, so I'll change this name to user pass cert 2. And my DNS name will be this, which is my DNS identity, so that I don't have to change my services and other things here. And the last but not least is the key users as digital signature. So let's run this and see what happens. When I run this, I get the subject, which is already updated, but I get a new thumbprint because it's a new certificate. So I'll have to copy this thumbprint for sure and update it on my service tier. Remember, we set it here. So we'll have to update this parameter here. And as we are changing service, we'll also have to restart the server instance. So while these changes are happening, your parameters are being set. If you see a similar error on Microsoft Edge, and hopefully Microsoft fixes it with the next cumulative update for Microsoft Edge, you can still test out your scenarios by creating a self-signed certificate from PowerShell. Now, what else? Once this is done, you have also utilized certificate at one more place. So let's this be over so that we can test it out. Let's head back to IIS. Go to your root website, go back to your bindings, because in the binding here you have specified that you're using user pass cert, but now you have a user pass cert 2. So let's select that and click close. Hopefully that change has been done. Hopefully, I'm saying, but let's test it out. Let's do a browse of 443. Okay, now it says the local host thing, and it is not pointing to a whole URL, but let me try to access this URL. Okay, so this time it says your connection isn't private. Attackers might steal it because it's a self-signed certificate, and it says the certification authority is invalid, which makes sense because I know this. Let's click advanced, and I'm ready to go unsafe on this particular site. Okay, I'm here. I should be able to log in now, and let's see. 168 and hash. Okay. Hopefully it will allow me to get into the system and will allow me to access Business Central. So let's wait for this for a while, and then we'll see what we did and what else you need to keep in mind. Okay, so I'm here as my user Saurav with a password which is assigned to me. The issue that we had was due to a change in Microsoft Edge, which is causing this problem, incompatibility issue. And to summarize what we did, again, we created a username password user. We updated the service tier to utilize the nav username password as authentication, and also assign this client service certificate and enable the SSL over there. Then we surely updated our web service or web client configuration parameter, which is the credential type, HTTPS, DNS identity, and require SSL. With these settings, we end up with an error message which happened due to the latest update on Microsoft Edge, which we fixed by creating a certificate on by using PowerShell. Hopefully the people who have asked this question got the answer what they were looking for, and it helps you if you get stuck in that problem. The next video that we'll be doing is continuing this line to utilize HTTPS on our OData and APIs and SOAP web services, because again there was a separate question. I don't want to make this long, so that's why I'm splitting it into two parts. So in the next video, we'll talk about how you can enable SSL into your web services that you have. Hopefully that makes sense. What you have to do, if you like the content, hit the like button. If you know someone who is struggling with this issue, or as an administrator who is trying to set it up, or as a student who is trying to learn business and having troubles with SSL, share this. Make someone's life easier by giving the articles or videos that can help them. And as I said in the beginning of the video, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you sooner than later on the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep sharing your knowledge with the community. We all have to make this community as the greatest community of the world, or of any other product. Okay, thank you.